Hello, hello, and welcome to the first day of July and your weekly energy spiritual forecast with animals as messages. And if you're not on my mailing list, I asked my tribe yesterday, are you feeling ready for July? We're going into that last 6 months of 2019, and looking at the astrology and also doing my ritual of setting out and asking for guidance for the beginning of a new month. I'm not going to lie, July looks like it's going to be a very challenging month, but you are resilient, and you already have the ancient wisdom within you to pretty much get through anything if you plan, if you are open to be more flexible, and also if you are willing to ask for support. And I think, as I said, the first week of July, the whole point of showing up every week and giving you these little anchors in these energy spiritual forecasts is to encourage you to get excited about actually doing the work that is necessary to, create more of a beautiful state than a suffering state. So this week I'm using Jamie Sand's cards, this beautiful medicine cards from Power Animals. It's a beautiful deck and one that I use often. And the first card, so this is really beautiful. I always love this. So your anchor card for this week is buffalo medicine. And the interesting thing is it was reversed. So whenever a card is reversed, it's that the energy is still moving in. So there's a lot of opportunity from buffalo medicine this week to really invite yourself to do some of that inner work, to look at where you maybe have forgotten. As I said, to seek out help, to know that you don't have to do everything on your own, and look at what it is that you really need, right? What is it that not just your heart desires, but you could look at it as well as in reverse of what is it that you feel that you're missing? Are you maybe pushing too fast? I spoke about this all of last week, and this opportunity that we have going into July is really about looking at stop resisting change. Stop looking at trying to get somewhere far too quickly without actually doing the work. There is no magic pill. You cannot spiritually bypass this stuff. If you do, it just comes back. And this is where we see perpetual patterns, repeat patterns of abuse, of the things that you don't want showing up. And also to look at where you are perhaps separating, where you feel like you're alone. That you, as I said, that you're not part of nature, and to really tap into the true divine nature of who you are as an infinite being, as a brilliant co-creator, and that you came in with this divine blueprint that you haven't been able to perhaps access up until now. And maybe, this is a good time as well to use Buffalo Spirit to look at what have you forgotten about yourself, your talents, your abilities, your capacities, and where have you forgotten that you aren't alone? Where are you maybe pushing your allies away? And also not doing that active appreciation for your life, for your talents, for your health, for your family and your allies. So are you forgetting that you have to co-create with the universe? The universe has your back. Great Spirit has your back. And if you're not honoring the choices of others, this is another good card with Buffalo in reverse, to look at where can you give more of yourself? Where can you give more love and let the people that you love have their own experience and make their own choices, even if it's difficult, even if you can see that it's not necessarily what you would choose, to just have the allowance and the honoring to let them be on their own journey. And also, as I said, look at where you are perhaps not honoring your own desire, right? Your own core desires to ask for what you want. So Buffalo medicine is always just such a great gift. And a wonderful one to be the anchor for these intense energies of July, giving us a sign that you will understand. I think if you just stay to the end of the forecast today, Buffalo is a great level or of remembering our own humanity, having humility, and to remember that nothing is ever achieved without the support and the assistance of divine. So we have to learn to ask on a deeper level for assistance, and to be grateful for everything that we've received up until now, including, probably most importantly, the challenges, the feedback that you're getting from your body, and to look at, what is the gift here? What is the message in the mess? So we start off tomorrow, 2nd of July, with a very big bang with the eclipse. So we have to remember that we have to look at where we're out of trust. We need to look at trusting the things that have happened when we've maybe had very tense aspects, such as the planetary aspects of the squares and the oppositions, or when eclipses hit your chart. So if you have your astrology chart, you might want to look at, where is this eclipse showing up? Where is Cancer in your chart? So that you don't hide under a shell, right? Cancerians, just the nature of who they are. My daughter and some of my very good friends are born in Cancer, and they really do have this very, very soft, sensitive inside, but they have this hard shell that often shows up as, they're strong and they've got heart walls up. So if you have any of that energy in your chart, just look at it. You might have to redo or review some of the things. 6 months, every year, every month is a good time to just take your year in review, take your month in review, and look at where are you being called to go back and perhaps try something differently. Yes, there's always delays with retrogrades. So we have Mercury coming up in retrograde, and that's what retrogrades are here for, to push us to deal with the stuff that we perhaps haven't dealt with when perhaps Mercury was direct, or when the opportunity was there that you were kind of resisting change. So just remember that if you try to avoid the energy of a planet or an aspect, or the medicine of Great Buffalo, which is your anchor card for the week, when you do that, you either deny it or you start to project that onto other people if you're not ready and willing to be responsible for the work that you need to do. So instead of resisting, embrace. Just look at if you just kind of look at the sheer size and power of Buffalo, use it. Ask Buffalo Medicine to come in and support you as you work with some of these things that you're going to be reviewing. And instead of resisting the work, embrace it, because this is when we can really get the best out of what the energies are that are available to us. It's always easier to let the current take you, to swim with the tide again rather than against it. So yes, you can be like a little Cancer and retreat into your shell or hide under a rock to perhaps avoid accidents or any pain as you go through this. Or you have the power of choice to actually use it and get into aligned action. So this is a very powerful eclipse because it's a total one. So it has a lot more energetic frequency, and it's about the North Node aspects of your chart. So think of the North Node as your divine blueprint, what you came into this life to achieve and share with the world, and your South Node is always where you've been. So the lessons that you are learning will often come up in the South Node. So again, embrace the new rather than dealing with the old, because that's your North Star, right? That's your North Node. So that is the direction of the North. So now, I love those. So as we move into the direction of the East, Snake is showing up, and I love snake energy because it's all about transmutation. It's about using your magic, using your alchemy, and being willing, again, to let go of the old, including the old skin that you might have grown out of, the old friendships, the relationships that you might have grown out of, and to let go. Again, it's around death and rebirth, and it's very powerful medicine when you are willing to work with it. So perfect medicine as we sort of head into July. Venus enters Cancer. So look at what you hold precious and sacred. Again, this is the energy of Cancer. That is the month of July, and where Cancerians are always sort of very look at what you hold dear. What are your values? What is precious to you? What is sacred? What does home mean to you? Where do you need to be safely embodied? Hello, Daisy. My dog always comes in when I'm doing this, which is so sweet. What do you need to come back to your heart? That is nurturing and will give you the comfort, and also allow you to look at where you feel safe or where you don't feel safe. So as I said, in the coming weeks, these relational themes of buffalo in reverse. So we're moving into this transformation of snake, and it's going to become very important for your healing to actually evolve or upgrade or even begin. It's heavy magic if we're going to make the changes in consciousness this week. So this is a good time to get closer to look at your relationships to your partners, for example, to your children. This is a great time to reestablish that sense of trust and intimacy through active appreciation, because everything that they have brought into your life as triggers are all there to help you to grow and evolve and to become the best version of you, to really activate your energetic blueprint, right? Your true nature and the reason why you incarnated into this lifetime. So as I said, great time to co-create with Buffalo Medicine, with Great Spirit, and with the people in your life, and to look at, where are you? What are your values? So good time to honor and get into inquiry with your why. What are your whys? How do you love? What's your love language? What's your relationship with money? What's your relationship to actually seeing the beauty, even in the worst, most challenging times? And if you think about it, we normally think of Mercury, and it is in retrograde, but we normally think of Mercury, which is all about the thinking before the action of Mars. And this time around, this week, we're going to be looking at action. So Mars before Mercury, action before the thinking. So good time, as I said, to push pause sometimes before you react and do things that you may regret. To go back and look at, what changes do you need in order to grow and evolve in your relationships. Excuse me. As we move into the direction of the south, so this is taking the vision of everything that you want, everything that you desire, everything that you love, out of the direction of east and moving into the direction of south. The gentleness of deer. I love deer medicine because it is so gentle, and so is Cancer, right? Cancer is that very soft, sensitive inside. And deer in the south, as we sort of move through that this week, is reminding us that as we continue our journey of personal healing, of doing our inner work, Chiron is going to be coming up, and it's in retrograde. Remember I said to you at the beginning of the year, Chiron's going to be with us pretty much the whole of this year, because it's asking us as the wounded healer to look at the parts and pieces of us that we feel are intrinsically broken and inadequate. So this again goes back to the worth of snake, of transformation, of turning your mess into a message with Great Buffalo, and looking at there is nothing to fix, nothing to prove, nothing to hide. But look at those emotions that are going to come up with this big, powerful eclipse, and use gentleness and compassion as you would to a tender little animal like a baby Bambi, or an innocent child that really needs you to create safety for them because they don't know or don't have the capacity to keep themselves safe yet. Go back to the heart, right? And look at the mind. Look at the languaging that you're using around what it means to be safe, and how do you value your relationships? How are you creating safety or financial security with money? Because this is reminding us that inside we have both predator and prey aspects of us, and love heals all wounds. So as you start to get clear on who you think you are. We have to look at the light and the dark, right? The shadow aspects, this very, very strong medicine of snake, and the power of great buffalo that walks with the light of the divine. And bring love to the parts and pieces of you, your child parts that you're working through, those wounds where you have defined or decided at some point in your childhood that you were intrinsically wrong, right? The difference between guilt being I've done something wrong, which I spoke about yesterday, and the shaming aspect of that, which is really an internal prison that we lock ourselves up in, that you are wrong, right? So we have to be willing to feel in order to heal. I say this all the time. Feelings are always a symptom of a healing crisis. So healing is about to come. Trust in the compassionate inquiry and love the parts that are in pain. If we keep stuffing it down, eventually the body says no, which is why I'm running this 5-day challenge or 5-day of inquiry inside of the closed Facebook group. If you'd love to join us, I'd love to have you there. We're starting today looking at some of these emotions that we've shoved down that may be presenting through this wounded Chiron aspect, that it's time to heal in. It's time to come back to your heart and stop stuffing your emotions down. So we're looking at toxic shame as we get off the ground and into the new week. So if you'd like to join that, I'll post the link below. We'd love to have you in there, because the more of us that are doing this work, the faster that we can start to heal the Chiron wounds of the collective humanity. So remember your humanity. And if you want to heal, there's no other way around it than to move through and embrace the emotions that are direct feedback from your body before you go into that mercurial thinking aspect to try and fix things from the mind, which is impossible. So I hope you join us for the 5-day challenge. We're really going to integrate and explore some of these limiting beliefs that are never limiting. They're just protective and defensive patterns that we've all created at some part in our lives to keep us safe. So we're looking at how do we use our emotions as this portal to really act on this beautiful loving energy of deer in the direction of south as we begin our rite of passage into the direction of west, right? We're starting our journey, and what better animal medicine to show up than dog, who is always showing us about loyalty, about sovereignty, and where we're perhaps searching for truth. This is the time to look at where have you been disloyal? Where have you given up your voice, your truth, the things that matter and move you, and how can you get back into the heart? So stay sovereign to your own personal truth this week, and look at where you long for roots, right? If you just think about a dog, they're so grounding in their energy. They're protectors. They are fierce in their loyalty to us. And they've been with us as a species for centuries to remind us to love, even though you may be the dog that's been kicked or abused in the past. Come back to your heart and look at where have you been betraying yourself, or where you may be shutting out the very people who are trying to be your loyal allies on this journey. Remember, we are traumatized through relationships, and we have to heal through those same relationships. So if you just sort of imagine trying to pull a weed out, right? Oftentimes we're trying to, and I'm using this as a metaphor, when you're trying to pull a weed out of the ground, the roots are very, very strongly anchored. You often see the dandelions shooting through cement in the most impossible places. And often the top breaks off and the roots stay down. This is why you can't change unless you heal at the level of the nervous system. We have to get to the root cause of when you created this and rejected and were disloyal to the parts that you actually need to love into being. So it's quite counterintuitive this week as you move through this sort of challenging aspects of this powerful moon into these Chiron energies and the Mercury retrograde. Stop resisting, relax, water your wood, right? We need to be flexible in our bodies. If you look at Chinese medicine, and we have to water our wood. If we don't water the wood, it splinters, it breaks, we break, which is often a healing crisis, especially if anger has been one of those emotions that's been pushed down for a very, very long time, and it starts to show up as cancer, right? So counterintuitive, we need to water the wood. You need to water the roots lovingly, because that's the only thing that's going to work as you start to sort of release those old neural pathways and lay down new neural pathways. We have to heal at the level of our nervous system. So befriending your pain and using dog as this incredible reminder of loyalty and sovereignty and just love. You know, dogs love us unconditionally. Can you do that to some of your trauma patterns as you move through the week? Make friends with your emotions. Thank whatever is going to come up in your body, whatever's showing up in your body this week. Love it. Treat it tenderly with that beautiful gentleness of deer, and stop resisting change. If you're one of those that sort of resist until the very last minute, that's when things are going to break. So at some level, whether you are aware of it or not, this week is a good week to actually use the medicine of buffalo, the transformation of snake, right? Buffalo, to remember that we are all connected to Great Spirit and the universe does have our back, to know that we are in this Chiron energy of healing the wounds and using snake alchemy to transform and shed some of those old patterns of abuse and trauma, with the gentleness and loving compassion of deer, and then to really solidify it with re-establishing sovereignty to yourself. So look at some of the places where perhaps you're not being happy in your situations, where you're asking for great change, and where you need to be loyal in doing the work daily to build that momentum, to build that trust muscle, and to use everything as an incredible learning opportunity to start rewiring your old nervous systems. So what needs to change about yourself, about parts and pieces of your life that maybe you'd like to optimize or you'd like to change completely. Look at where you are at in your life, and use these beautiful animal totems to really support and guide you to living an authentic life, being all of you, standing in your truth and loving yourself and others through it. And I'll meet you on the inside. As I said, if you love what I'm putting down here, I'm offering a free 5-day challenge in a very safe incubator called the Pain and Trauma Incubator on Facebook, and I'm going to be going live at 5 to really start engaging in the energy of how we can start to transmute through toxic shame, and also what toxic shame is. If you listen to the Facebook Live, I think I did on Friday or Saturday, remember, shame is a distractor implant. It's designed to distract you from the loving aspects of who you really, really are and who you came here to be. And toxic shame is just an insidious place that really locks us up and was given to us. So it's one of those assigns. So if you'd like to join us inside of that portal, we're going to be starting to really just do some of these neural brain hacks. We're going to be using somatic release to start to shake those old rigid patterns loose, so that you can start to live a fulfilled life and spend more time in a beautiful, beautiful state rather than a suffering state. So that's it for the week. Make it count. You have what it needs. You're not alone. And if I can support you to go deeper into some of that personal inquiry, you know where I am. Otherwise, if you're happy going along at your own pace, great. And if you want to join us inside of the 5-day challenge, you can see that link below. All right, have a great week, everybody. Lots of love. Bye. Mwah.